Thank you for joining us for Breaking Down Barriers, our special on race relations in Las Vegas and America. I'm Brian Loftus, and I'm joined by Kirsten Joyce and Bianca Holman.
During the next hour, we're going to present race-related issues in our community, from how police deal with the minority community to challenges and discrimination many people face in their jobs and day-to-day lives.
And we also have a panel that's going to discuss these issues with us. We'll hear from them throughout the hour.
Right now, the thing on so many minds across the nation is the shooting of a black man, Jacob Blake, by police officers in Kenosha, Wisconsin. That set off even more protests and debates in living rooms this week.
There were peaceful protests during the day, but at night buildings were set on fire in Kenosha. That led to some violent clashes in the street, culminating with a 17-year-old Caucasian male from a town 30 miles away being arrested and charged with the shooting death of 2 people and the wounding of a third. That happened Tuesday night. Then on Thursday, pro sports teams started canceling their postseason in protest.
Now, each new video of a police shooting we see can be a traumatic incident for black people that takes an emotional toll, building anxiety and fear. And for many black parents, it's a reminder of how they have to guide their children through racism they may encounter in their daily lives.
Oh, you're already solving it? That's not fair.
A weekend afternoon with the Marintic family is just like any other, watching TV, playing games. Anthony and Belinda are both educators, and they've got 5 children. And of the youngest 3, 1 at each academic level, all active and high achieving. Same goes for the Boone family. Cassina, a Vegas native, and her husband, Anthony. Even though their 5 children are older, quality time together is important. And with recent events, they've had emotional family talks.
Kind of have a conversation daily regarding racism.
When I'm out in the community, somebody else, who does not understand the culture, who does not understand what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, they might perceive it as threatening.
From images of slavery and lynchings to violence against unarmed black people at the hands of fellow citizens or police, in recent years, from Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, George Floyd, the names, the headlines, and the videos. Demisha Mingo, a mental health expert, realizes these experiences have a lasting impression.
For Black people and minorities, it's going to be even greater trauma because they're the victims of it.
It was heart-wrenching. You imagine, what if this was my child in this situation?
Parents want their kids to get home alive.
Every time our children leave the house, we tell them to be careful, be safe, we love you.
16-year-old Aaron, who ranks in the top 10% of his class, isn't shielded from these horrific acts.
A surprise for me to see a video just like that.
For Cassina and Anthony's son, Logan, who has autism, he worries even more.
A sense of hopelessness, imagine me trying to already articulate myself to other people who don't understand what I go through.
The Marintic and Boone families have members in law enforcement, so they want their kids to be informed and still inspired to spark change in society. Aaron believes people of all races protesting together and spreading awareness on social media is a start.
I feel like more people need to speak out because there's a lot of people that are just look at it and then just turn the other way. A problem doesn't get solved by turning away.
Everyone, white, Hispanic, and Asian, must talk about racism and social injustice.
And it also allows for the other people to see how we need to band together to protect everyone.
Mingo says be direct, open, and honest, but standing up for equality is shown in our everyday actions.
Life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you respond to it.
Just get involved to make it better.
So that's where we instill that hope.
All right, now joining us now is our panel for the night, helping to provide us with some insight on these subjects. Craig Knight is the general manager at Power 88.1, and Kennedy Coben Richardson, who is the executive director of Nevada Partners, and that's a group that's been in the community for nearly 30 years, tackling issues like housing and other areas of community need, largely in the historic West Las Vegas. Thank you both for joining us tonight. Kennedy, you can answer this first one. Let's talk about what's on everyone's minds right now. Kenosha, Wisconsin. What are your thoughts on the shooting and what happened with Kyle Rittenhouse, the 17-year-old who was arrested for shooting 2 people?
Yeah, so unfortunately, this is a story that we keep saying in the news, and it started certainly before George Floyd. And it just lets us know that even in a situation where everyone is thinking about this, it still happens. So it's a little bit unsettling that these kinds of things will happen. It just really reminds you that Black lives, do not have the same value as other lives. Therefore, based on the data, then we're the first to get killed for, really low-level offenses, criminalizing things like selling cigarettes, and other things that really don't require the death penalty. And even if you're guilty of a crime, it is not up to the police to decide on the spot whether or not you should live or die. And the fact that police still have qualified immunity is also a problem. And so Kenosha particularly, it really saddens me. I am encouraged, though, by the public outcry, both in the sports arena as well as nationwide and even internationally. And so I do believe that we are the ones we're waiting for. It is going to take this kind of pressure in order to make people change. And so I'm confident, or I should say hopeful, that we can move forward.
Yeah. Craig, what about you? Thoughts on Kenosha?
Well, first, thank you for having us, because it's great to see everyone coming together once again. First it was George Floyd, and now we're looking at Jacob Blake. I think that what the problem is that there's a double standard. There's a double standard from the bottom to the top, all the way across the board when it comes to Black people and people of color, right? And so we have a situation here where 4 years ago this month, Colin Kaepernick kneeled about this, and the whole message was hijacked and made about the flag and the military, and it wasn't that at all. So here we are 4 years later, and it's come back to haunt us again, and it's just a telling message that until we get this right about racism in America, it comes down to this. Like I said the last time I was on here, you're either racist or you're anti-racist. There's no more, I'm not a racist. There's no more that there's a silent middle anymore. If you're complacent, if you're silent, then you're complicit. That's what it comes down to. And the last thing I want to say is that right now we're living in a divided state of America. And there's two parallel realities. There's the real reality, then there's an alternate reality. And it's actually moving at the same time in real time. So right now, we have to focus and realize that it's not about who's right. It's about getting it right for the sake of our democracy.
All right. Thank you both for sharing your insight on just that recent event that has happened. And we really appreciate you. We know that you're going to come and share your thoughts throughout the show. Kirsten?
Yeah.
Thank you, Bianca. Working toward policing reforms, that has been the main focus of the protest across the country. Up next, the I-Team's George Knapp talks with police about what changes have been made so far this year and what else could change going forward.